Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Discover Your Ideal Body with Christine. I have a wonderful guest with me today. She is not only an inspiration to me, I met her almost 2 years ago, and she's become a bit of a mentor, a friend, a guide. We have such a great connection. I would love you to introduce you to Jody Levy. She is our guest today. Welcome, Jody. How are you?
Thank you, Christine. What a beautiful welcome. It's only been 2 years. It feels like I've known you forever. So shows you the strength of that connection.
That's right. Absolutely. So I'm going to just give a little intro to Jody. I want you to understand who she is, what she's about, and what she brings to basically our community. So Jody's passions and experience center around holistic healing, counseling, teaching, and coaching. She holds a master's in social work from Boston University and is certified in Eden Energy Medicine, Reiki, PSYCH-K, Herbalism, laughter yoga, mind body medicine, and coaching. Additionally, Jody holds an MBA from Drexel's LeBow School of Business and a BS in food science from Cornell University. Jody has experience supporting clients across a full range of emotional and physical issues. She's passionate about helping her clients understand the language of their body symptoms so they can unlock the inner power they possess to heal. One of the foundations of her partnership with clients is to help them identify and release limiting beliefs that are standing in the way of reaching their goals emotionally and or physically. Jody welcomes the opportunity to support those suffering from trauma of all types. Which may lie hidden behind physical and emotional symptoms, including chronic pain, anxiety, substance use order, or depression. Jody also has a specialty in supporting highly sensitive and empathetic individuals who struggle with anxiety and autoimmune conditions. Before leaving a 30-year career in the corporate world, which we're going to talk about, to pursue her life, purpose, and holistic healing, Jody was a Fortune 500 senior executive in strategy and innovation. In her free time, Jody enjoys spending time with her family, watching sunsets, and digging her feet in the sand. Awesome. She describes herself as a lifelong learner who is passionate about helping to heal and raise the vibration of this world through her service. She also is the owner and founder of Hopespring Holistic Health Center. Welcome, Jody Levy. Thank you so much for coming and joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here, Christine.
Yeah, so quite a resume, by the way, my friend. Quite a resume. And if you've heard this resume, been listening, you can see, oh, there's an evolution here. Started someplace and now ended someplace completely different. And I want to just initially talk about how I came upon meeting Jody. And then I would like Jody to actually tell us her story. So I'm a very, very big fan of Dr. Bruce Lipton. And I had knowledge of his work years ago when I worked for OnDemand. Um, no accidents or coincidences. I came across some information about PSYCH-K therapy. I was talking to a nurse practitioner who's a client of mine. We talked about it. She said, "Hey, you know what? I actually did some investigation and found there's a therapist who's going to be speaking at Omega Institute." And she actually met with Jody. And when she came back, I was so intrigued. I said, "You know what? I really want to meet her and do this." So my husband and I ventured actually out to Boston at the time pre-COVID. She had an office in Boston and an office in Maine. So we met her in Boston and we had each had a PSYCH-K therapy session, which was profound, amazing. It was really, we were so grateful to have had this experience. And I don't want to go too far into it. But other than to say that not only did my husband and I have this great experience, but we also found we had this great connection to Jody. Uh, Fast forward, I invited Jody to my office that September to come and give a workshop and treat some of my clients. I found it so effective, so beneficial that I just thought, anything that Jody can offer would be great. Had a great weekend. Winter came, COVID came. And, Jody and I have just kept in touch since then.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty confident that Jody and I will be working together in a physical space at some point soon. We are very like-minded and share a lot of the same beliefs. That is my experience with lovely Jody. So Jody, I'm going to ask you to tell me about um, 30 years ago. I want to start there. I want to start with your story. So, what was going on 30 years ago?
Yeah, it's so funny. As I listen to you even talk about my life, somebody might look at it and go, whoa, she's like done so many different things. Like, is there any pattern here? And the reality is there's a golden thread that goes through it.
Mm-hmm.
So 30 years ago, I actually graduated from high school and I wanted to be a counselor. There was, families have influences on us, and my family wasn't that supportive of me becoming a counselor. So I decided not to. I ended up going down the business route. However, even though I had a 30-year career, I became a leader, and one of my focuses was on supporting people. Mm-hmm. And so this thread of like wanting to help people and support people was always there. So I used to spend an inordinate amount of time working with teams, building teams. I had many supervisors who would say to me, Jody, why do you spend so much time on your people? You have numbers to deliver. And I would say, just trust me, just trust me. It's through our people we deliver our numbers.
That's true.
And sure enough, I did. I was able to, show them that if you invest in people and you allow people to bring the best of themselves forward, you can deliver anything. So, fast forward, most of my career, I was mentoring people. At one point, I had like 20 people I was mentoring. I just love to support people. And, there's a part within me that always wanted to support and counsel and help people to bring their best self forward. At one point, I left my corporate role and I got trained to be a coach, and I opened my own business where I was doing individual coaching and team development. Then I got pulled back into the corporate world again for my last tenure there of what I would call like a corporate role. And then I finally decided, okay, life has tapped me on the shoulder and said things need to change. And my wake-up call was an autoimmune condition.
An autoimmune condition. Great.
Right.
Well, good. I would love to start with that because I have a few clients who have autoimmune conditions.
Okay.
We talk about a couple of resources and you're one of them. So what exactly was going on? What was happening?
So what I didn't know at the time, but I now know, is that I was doing this whole corporate thing during the 90s, which was a time where women had gotten a lot of ability to, raise their levels in corporations to high levels.
Yeah.
So I was afforded that opportunity to become a senior VP in a very large Fortune 500 company. I also was the mother of two. And so I had this super mom syndrome, right? Which is like, I can do it all. I can take care of the house and I can be at every event my children have. So I'd leave at like 10 in the morning and run to like a music thing at school. And then I run back to the office and I was doing it pretty well. I'm pretty good at juggling lots of balls. However, the one ball I wasn't juggling was taking care of myself. So burning the candle on both ends, not sleeping very much, not eating very well, and a lot of stress. And what I've now learned is that cocktail, that combination, oftentimes leads to autoimmune conditions. Based on the world I know now with energy, what I know is that the stress response is the king of all energy systems. And when that stress response is going all the time, it's stealing energy from its partner, the immune system. So the more we're under stress, the more we're taking a lot in, the more our immune system gets weakened. And over time, if we don't have a way to like empty the cup, to bring that stress response to a place of kind of calm, the immune system really gets challenged. And that leads us to autoimmune conditions. And I have to say quickly, before I go too far, to say, I no longer have this autoimmune condition. It's gone. And it's gone because I changed my life.
Yoo-hoo!
And I believe every one of us has the ability to heal anything we're dealing with if you understand what the body and the psyche needs.
Excellent. Excellent. So
that's how I got there.
That was the knock on the door, right?
Yes.
That was the, hey, wake up. You're, this isn't working. Whatever you're doing is not working. Although you were juggling everything well, I was listening to you. I was like, oh, listen to those words. Well,
yes, exactly.
Which, wouldn't you agree that although that was the 90s, here we are, 2021, much of that hasn't changed, right? That stigma and that, I'm not going to say men don't go through, because of course they do. But certainly I'm a woman, so I can say I see a lot of women who are doing this to themselves.
Absolutely.
So, okay. So you got the knock on the door, and then what happens?
Then, as I say, life has its way of talking to you if you pay attention. So a book falls off the shelf. I go to a bookstore and this book ends up in my hands. I have no idea how. And it's this book that says Donna Eden Energy Medicine. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Let me take it home. I start reading it and I can't put it down. And I spent an entire weekend basically reading this very big book. At the end of it, I say, I need to get trained in this, which is really unlike me in terms of what happened next, because I got online. I found out that she had a training program that started 2 weeks later, and I signed up. And
Wow.
anyone who knew me at the time knew that I was very analytical.
Mhm.
If I was going to do something like this, I would have studied every program in the country, figured out which is the right one to sign up for. 6 months later, I might have signed up, I might not have signed up, but I literally got this like, I have to do this. And 2 weeks later, I walked into this room and they started talking a whole new language. They started talking the language of energy. And I walked out of there that first day with my head exploding. I was like, oh my God, I feel like my head's about to explode. It's like a crash course in a new language overnight.
Wow.
And so, you know, it was my first day of Eden Energy Medicine. It was fabulous. It was wonderful, but I was so overwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
Because it is a whole new language. And
Yeah.
now it's, you know, now it's second nature. But even when I work with people, I say, hey, this is new. You have to like take your time and get used to it. But it is really a new language. It's the language of understanding our body.
Excellent. You know, I was just thinking, these little intuitive sort of like signals, hits. It's funny, they happen so suddenly, but yet somehow internally it feels so right.
Yes.
Right?
When you know it, right? If you're paying attention and you're willing to listen, yeah, it's right there. In fact, the funny story is that I found out like after I got well into this, I realized that probably 5 or 6 years prior, I had bought Barbara Brennan's Healing Light book. I don't even remember buying it. I don't remember why it got put in my nightstand. So there was a part of me that was trying to talk to me even earlier. I just wasn't able to hear it then. So I bought this book, I put it in my nightstand, I never even opened it.
Wow.
And then I like found out once I got into the energy medicine training, like, oh my God, like I actually, there's been a knock here on my shoulder for quite some time. This was just the time where I heard it.
Yeah, definitely. And I often will say to my clients, you know, we don't always know how bad it is inside of the box because we're inside of the box.
Yes.
But once you get outside of the box and you're actually able to look in, oh my gosh. I mean, I know myself personally, I've gone, holy crap, how is it that I haven't seen this before, or I didn't pay attention? You know, what was going on? You know, it happens to all of us, but the good news is hopefully if you've gotten outside of the box, you got the message, and that's the key to all of it. So moving on. So you take this course, you've left the business world, so to speak.
Yes.
And you decide to move on a little bit more with helping people by doing what?
Yes. So I it was my wake up call. So I did 4 years of training.
Wow. 4 years.
I didn't leave the corporate world right away. I transitioned. I did some of the training actually while I was still working.
Yes.
And then I left to open up my own private practice. And then I just, you know, I heard in my bio, I feel like I'm a lifelong learner. I'm like a learning junkie. So then I was like, okay, what can I learn here? And so I got trained in lots of things. I got trained in sound healing. I got trained in different types of energy medicine. I've gotten trained in EFT. And PSYCH-K is one of my favorites. You know it because it's so powerful. And then I finally decided actually, I guess 3.5 years ago to go back to school for my master's in social work to sort of
so
make
on top of everything else.
Right.
Yeah.
That's this lifelong learner part. But for me, what it is that it was anytime somebody was coming to me, I felt like I was providing counseling services because you can't just do it. You have to like talk to the person. So I really wanted to have that whole picture. And I felt like holistic healing was the best of all because you can bring some of the training in understanding psychotherapy with these holistic tools. And the combination together is so powerful. It just really accelerates healing.
Amazing. Can you briefly explain to everybody what PSYCH-K is? Since
Absolutely.
I didn't explain it, go ahead.
No, I love it. Well, first of all, it's a method that is 31 years old this year. I think it had its 30th anniversary last year.
Oh.
It was founded by Rob Williams. He was a psychotherapist, and he himself found what a lot of, I think, counselors find is that through talk therapy, you can only go so far, and then the person kind of hits a wall. And so it came to him 31 years ago as a point of frustration where it's like he was trying to prepare for something. It's kind of like one of those like moments of like, you know, God, what do you want from me type things?
Yeah.
This is a download. And what it is basically is an ability to work with our subconscious mind to change beliefs. And why is that? We go back to Bruce Lipton, who you mentioned.
Yeah.
So Bruce Lipton has done the research. He's an epigeneticist and a cellular microbiologist that has shown that the beliefs are the core that drive what we think, feel, and act every day, 90% of the time. 90 to 95% of the time, what we're saying, what we're feeling, what we're doing is driven by our subconscious beliefs. Those get programmed from the time we're in utero to like 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And that becomes a filter of our life. So whatever it is we believe about ourselves is what drives how we're feeling and our actions. So PSYCH-K, interestingly, is the fast path to changing those subconscious beliefs.
Yeah.
So what happens is we say, hey, I want to be successful, and yet I haven't been successful.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes there's a belief that a person doesn't believe they're worthy of success or capable of success. And with PSYCH-K, we identify what does a person want in their life.
Right.
And through a posture, we're able to identify how do we get the brain to the place where we can reprogram it.
Mm-hmm.
What we call the left and the right hemisphere of the brain in complete balance. When they're in that place, we can get rid of that belief that believes we can't be successful and put a new belief in a matter of minutes. And you know, because you've experienced it, it is so powerful. It's working mind, body, and spirit. And it, of all the things I've trained in hypnotherapy, I've trained in EFT, PSYCH-K is my go-to because it's so powerful, so efficient and gentle.
Yeah, it really is. And the shifts, you know, that occur. And like you said, there shifts can occur that day, can occur 3 months later, can occur 4 months later. But they are profound. I mean, I'm going to use my husband as an example, but because he was pretty new in starting his business, maybe one and a half years old at that point it was. And with any new business, there's a lot of struggles in the building and this, that, and the other thing. But, you know, it was interesting because since that, what he did to move forward and working with a business coach, like his ideology had changed. His belief system had changed. Again, I've learned so much from you because now when I see people who are struggling, I view them as that child. I'm like, okay, so that this person at this young age feels this way about themselves. And here they are in their 30s or 40s and they still feel this way. And it really takes the pressure off in a sense because it's like, it's not necessarily their fault. It's like they can't help it. You know, I always say sometimes we just can't get out of our own way. And that would, I think, be an example of that. But I've watched my husband really move forward and maybe, and I'm not going to say maybe, I don't think he would have moved forward in the way that he has now if we had not had that experience because he had to believe in himself in order to do that. And if that wasn't going to happen, this wasn't going to happen. You know, the business wasn't going to grow. And so it's amazing because, you know, we'll go, wow, it's kind of cool how things are turning out. You know, it's like, wow, it's really amazing. Of course, there's a ton of hard work, but it's like moving forward, knowing, no, I'm going to do well at this. I have, you know, a strong belief system. I'm supported by the right people, and also have shifted for those support, you know, for those things. But you know, it was very beneficial. And I'm trying to remember. I feel like I had a large amount of clients booked up for you. were booked from like the minute you landed till the minute you left. But I feel let's just go for say 10 to 12 clients. And all of them were just in awe and absolutely loved the experience. So and explain to us. So if we were going to do any of these, I'm assuming PSYCH-K you offer. Is that something you can do virtually?
Yes, actually PSYCH-K is wonderful to do. In fact, even prior to COVID, I was working with people all over the world doing PSYCH-K through Zoom.
Oh, wow.
PSYCH-K is that I'm holding space and I'm facilitating it, but the person themselves is actually doing the work. And because energy has no bounds, I actually am able to connect with a person's energy across the wherever they are. And I can test. So what happens is on my end, I'm able to test for what's in balance, what's out of balance. And we do some calibration. And then the person identifies what do they want in their life? What do they want to change? And then we actually identify what posture they need to go into. And then they do the actual posture while I'm holding the space. And then we test for it afterward. Again, I can test on my end for it. But yeah, I've been doing well before COVID, a lot of PSYCH-K through Zoom. It works beautifully that way, actually.
Yeah, that's amazing. So time moves on. And when we had met, you were talking to me about this baby you were beginning to birth that was coming to fruition, which is Hopespring Holistic Health Institute. And can you talk to us about what that is, please?
Yes, that is a lifelong vision coming to fruition. I used to have a dream, even in the corporate world when I knew nothing about energy work. I used to have this recurring dream that I had a wellness center. And it didn't look exactly like it looks right now, but it always had a barn and a pond. And as I've begun to listen more and more to spirit as it speaks to me, I've been just guided to the fact that one of my purposes was to actually open this holistic health center, wellness center, to allow deep transformational healing to happen. And I, you know, as serendipity would have it, I was able to have land that found me, is the way I would like to say it, in southern Maine.
Wow. And wait, can I interject?
Yes.
You are originally from where?
I'm from the New Jersey, Bucks County, Pennsylvania area. Yes.
Okay. So we go from PA to Maine.
Right.
Guys, do you see this? It's like there's the spot.
Right. So there was this guidance that came again, probably like 7 years ago. That was like, this wellness center is going to be in Maine. And then it just turns out by chance, my daughters end up in Boston. You know, I got this guidance that it was going to be in Maine many years ago. Yeah. They end up in Boston. It's like, oh, I of course want to be closer to them. Sure. And right now I'm 50 minutes from one of my daughters, and my other daughter just moved yesterday. I'm an hour and 20 minutes from her. So they're very close, which I love. Close.
Yep.
And then, you know, I moved to Boston with a 3-year plan that I was going to look for land in Maine. And 6 weeks later, the land found me. Amazing. And it has a pond and a barn, which was always in my vision. Oh. Although in my vision, it was a red barn, and I've actually painted it blue. But but the vision's coming to fruition. And I've been birthing it, as you know, for a good full little longer than a year. And we just opened finally December 1st. And I'm so excited. And this is my service. I'm here to serve. And we have an awesome team of passionate holistic healers that
tell us about it. Tell us about your team. What are you offering?
Yes. So we have an integrated medicine physician, Dr. Scarlett Soriano, who is awesome. If anybody who's ever worked with her patients just love her. She is the sweetest, gentlest soul who takes a lifestyle approach to healing. She finds natural ways to help people heal from a medical perspective. Yep. Board certified integrated medicine physician, MD. I'm the holistic counselor. We have a mental health director, Melanie Szynski Brown, who again is awesome. She also is a holistic counselor and has amazing background and experience. We have an acupuncturist, Matt, who's like, again, the gentlest, most open-hearted guy. The theme on all this is, for everyone who works at the center, we always say we are welcoming everybody with open arms and open hearts. So everyone who has to work who comes to the center, that has to be their DNA, right? Beautiful. So each one of us, and I have a brand new person, I can't say the name yet, who's about to join us for yoga and really special massage, like really sound healing type massage. Oh, cool. So that's coming soon. But it's our goal is under one roof to be able to support the whole person. So if somebody comes and we can handle the medical piece, the mental health piece, the whole mind body piece. We want to welcome people wherever they're at and say, you know, what do you need? And we work as a team to say, what does this person need and how do we best support them? So we're so excited.
Oh yeah, just wonderful. And I had the pleasure 2 Sundays ago to join one of your workshops, which I absolutely loved, because even though, again, it was a Zoom workshop, it was so informative and wonderful. And we did some of the exercises and answered what we felt. And it was really very inclusive, which I really enjoyed. It was not boring in any way, shape, or form. It was the next best thing. And look, the reality is you're in Maine and I'm in New York. So there are going to be times in life where I can't obviously be in Maine. Although, don't you worry, I'll get one.
I'm waiting for you to come.
I am coming. But you know, it really offers so much. And I just love that, you know, what you just talked about is just, you know, just that open heart, because, and I got goosebumps when you're talking about it, because, and as you know, I had a wonderful interview with Dr. Rod Schellberg.
Yes.
Jody and Dr. Rod are also friends. Yep. And they're both in Maine. So you never know what could come of that someday in the future. But, you know, we talked about right now, you know, the paradigm of what's kind of going on in medicine. And I know a lot of physicians and nurse practitioners who don't like the corporate setup themselves. It's not their fault, right? So here's a lovely setting, a lovely experience that you can have. And I think it's wonderful that you've done this, and the bravery, because let's face it, guys, if you've ever jumped states and moved, made a big move, bought a huge piece of property, And at the time when I met Jody, she had, I believe, just purchased it. So we were
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, so we've literally, I've been watching her go through
Yes.
this birth and labor and,
Yes.
and, saw pictures here and there. It really just what a wonderful thing to do. And all to be of service to others. At
Yes.
the end of the day,
Yeah.
that's the
That's
purpose,
what it's about.
which is amazing.
Yes. I want to just, can I mention one thing about the center? It's one of my favorite
Yes.
things about it. The land itself is healing. It's 9 acres. It's surrounded by trees. It has water.
Wow.
And our feeling is we want people, when they come, no matter what they come for, to feel like they're going on retreat. And so everybody who comes, we have upstairs on the second floor, a meditation reading room that has massage chairs in it. And we really encourage people to come for whatever they're coming for and to stay and to spend some time for reflection and for renewal. Because we think a really big part of this healing is really taking that time to quiet the mind. It's what I was missing in the corporate world, I have to say, is I was just doing all the time. Yeah. And we really want people to say, hey, when I come, I'm going to give myself an extra hour and I'm going to go upstairs in the library and I'm either going to sit in the massage chair quietly, or I'm going to put music on, or I'm going to read something, or I'm going to look out at the pond. Yeah. And just to have some time for renewal and restoration. That's such a big part of the healing. And then in the springtime and summer, we have a healing garden. We're going to have a labyrinth in the spring.
Awesome.
There's paths that are going to be set up. And we really want people to feel the energy of the land, because that itself is so healing. So it's one of my, besides these wonderful practitioners, the land itself is so healing, so nurturing. And I can't wait for people to experience that as well.
Oh, that you're making me want to, after we're done, inquire about all that.
We'll be doing retreats. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get through, this COVID situation. We really, Scarlett and I are both passionate about doing retreats. You mentioned we were at Omega. We've taught together before there several times. And the benefit of retreat is people can come together for multiple days and really, really dive in and do deep inner work and really leave. And one of our signatures of our work is that everybody leaves with a plan. That's a practical plan that they can put into fruition in their own home living environment. Because the problem with a lot of retreats is we have this great couple of days and we leave, and the next day we go back, we're like pulled right back into it. And we really spend a lot of time with people figuring out, well, how do I incorporate this into my life day to day?
Yeah.
So we're so excited about retreats, and hopefully you're going to come and be one of the teachers in some of our retreats.
And that is my plan.
Looking forward to that.
That is my plan. And I just want to talk, just to people and just say this, things have all changed for all of us. We've been talking about that. And this is really the time when you've reflected. You've reflected on, okay, this, COVID was terrible, is terrible. But these are things I didn't like about my work life prior to this. And this is what I do like. This is what I didn't like about my daily living. Yes. And this is what I do like. Well, this is an opportunity to really reflect and think and take action on, how do I want to heal myself? How do I be proactive? Because one of my micro nuggets was, I'm not going to say the curse word, SHIT, or get off the pot, okay, for the new year, which is, you've had all this time to reflect, all of us. Make a plan, anything, move, think, contact them, something, right? To start towards your personal healing. If you didn't like what was happening before there, and I understand that, then let's all work towards being better every day, just a little bit better, as best as we can. And this is a great way to learn some new tools, new practices, getting yourself emotionally healthy, spiritually healthy, mentally healthy. Hopefully, that's the goal.
Yeah. One thing I'll mention is, if people want to experiment with it and get to know us, is every month we're offering a complimentary program so people can get to know what it is we do. Last month, Scarlett did a meditation series. This month, I'm doing an energy flow series where on every Friday morning at 10 o'clock for 30 minutes.
Yes.
And or Wednesday, this week it's Wednesday evening, and then the last 2 weeks it's Thursday evening. People will join us for 30 minutes. I'm going to be teaching people how to do a 5-minute energy routine at home. It helps to really harmonize our energy, increase our energy to have more vitality, calm the stress response down. It's something that comes from Don Eden that is being used all over the world right now to just sort of help people to come back to a state of harmony. And it's complimentary. You can just actually go onto the website or our Facebook or Instagram page and actually get the link and sign up. Okay. And the more the merrier. I love having people there. As you mentioned, whenever we do things, it's interactive. I'm really a big believer of empowerment, of us being able to take charge of our own emotions, our own physicality. Yes. And a lot of these tools, what we're learning is how to do that. and learn about the mind-body connection. Like as we manage our emotions, how that impacts our physical, our body, and vice versa. So yeah, join me. It's Friday mornings at 10. We also have a whole series of other classes that are happening throughout the month and different topics for different people. So
that's great.
People on the complimentary program.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm just so side note, we will have all that information in the comments down below so you can access their Facebook, their Instagram, their website, and contact Jody, to be able to set something up if you wanted to moving forward. So want to talk about that energy flow. You have a little, you had something in one of our workshops that you did at my office that was really cool when you pre-COVID, all of us in the room, we had about 15 people in the room, and you had this pretty neat little gadget. I was wondering if you had it with you today.
I do happen to have it. I don't go very far without it. It's sort of one of my handy tools, my little energy stick. I'm going to show us a little demo on it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I'll pull it out here. So as Christine said, we did this with 30 people in the room. I'm going to just do it myself. But when we talk about energy, it's oftentimes a very new concept for people because we don't learn about it in school. We learn about this bony skeleton we have. We don't learn that we have 9 energy systems in our body. The closest thing we get is that we learn that our cells have protons, neutrons, and electrons. And we're like, oh, electrons, that's electrical. It turns out that we are electrical beings and we have electromagnetic frequencies. And the cells are talking through these electrical frequencies all the time. The challenge is that we don't realize that we're impacting that system by the food we eat, by the stresses we have. And the work we do with energy is we get those systems back in balance. So this stick is just a way to sort of demonstrate, well, what do I mean by we have an energy system? Because again, it's something we can't necessarily see. So this is a child's toy, but I'm going to warn people that if you get startled by sound, it's going to have a sound that's kind of a light in a minute, just so you know. I'm kind of giving the spoiler, but some people can really react to sound. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one hand on this side. And then again, as Christine was saying, you can have 30 people holding hands. And as soon as you put this other hand on, we're going to make electrical circuits. So watch what happens. So we have color and we have sound. And that is just because my cells are electrical and I've just made an electric circuit. And what happens when you hold hands is it goes from one person to the next person to the next person. And it's just a cool thing to show we're electrical. And we have the ability to balance those electrical signals in a way that support us emotionally and physically. And that's what energy work is about.
I love that. I had taken, like I said, a complimentary class 2 weeks ago with Jody. Is there an exercise, one exercise that you could share with us that people can do possibly to kind of help?
Sure, absolutely. One of the things these days is all of us, our stress response is really elevated, right?
Yeah.
And, it's just, there's so much going on coming at us all the time. And the stress response is our friend in the sense that it's meant to keep us safe. So it's going to be revved up all the time. As long as you're busy and things are happening, it's pretty revved up. And what we want for really us to be feeling our best emotionally and physically is that for that stress response to be there protecting us, but not so revved up. We want it to be at a more baseline level of like, I like to use the analogy that when we're in the car and the car's in park and you put your foot on the gas and the engine's like, that's the way most of our stress response is, like really revving. And we want it to be like when you're driving the car and the engine's moving, but it's a hum, it's behind the scenes hum. And that's what we want. And so one of my favorite tools is to teach people, how do you bring that stress response down? We never shut it off because it's meant to keep us safe. But how do you bring it down from that to like a nice hum? And so this tool I'll show you, you can do anywhere, anytime. It works.
All right.
So behind our hand, between the 4th and 5th finger, there's a little well here.
Does it matter which hand, by the way?
Nope, we're going to end up doing it on both hands.
Okay, great.
But right between the 4th and 5th finger here in the back of your hand, there's a little well. And you don't have to put a lot of pressure, but you're just going to rub here. There's an acupressure point here that's linked to the stress response. And actually, by the way, this is a twofer. There's also a point here linked to fear. So if you have stress and fear, you get both at the same time. And as you rub this, we're actually releasing some of the energy, the excess energy that our stress response has. It's like if you picture a cup and that cup is filled with all the stress. As you're doing this, it's like pressure valve release. We're emptying the cup. And so you want to do it on both sides. You may find that it feels more sore on one side or thicker on one side. Soreness or tenderness or thickness is just stuck energy. It means you need it. And the more you do it, on and off, the more you move the energy, the less you'll feel that tenderness. But you only need 30 seconds to a minute to like empty the cup.
Wow.
But then repetition is key. The good news is we can shift energy very quickly. Energy shifts in like a minute, but it has a pattern. So it wants to go back to what it knows. So if you do this now and then you don't do it again, you may feel good for a little while, but it's going to come back. But the more you do it, the more you create a new pattern, a new memory, and it stays. So this is like one of those on and off, maybe a couple of times a day, 30 seconds.
Yeah, you're right. It's like, this is fine, no problem. But over here, it is a little like thicker, like a little harder to get in there. And I'm like, oh, that's
so the left and the right side of the body are different. The left side's the feminine side. It's the receiving side. The ability to receive. So usually thickness, tenderness, and the left side is like, are you receiving enough, Christine? The right side, tenderness, tends to be like overgiving.
Okay.
So each side is a little bit different.
Interesting.
Each of us.
Yeah.
But yeah. And what's nice about this, you can do this in the moment. Like I will sometimes like be somewhere where I'm feel stressed and I just start rubbing my hand. People think I'm just playing with my hand. You know, if you have to give a presentation, I used to do it like doing presentations for children. They're taking a test.
Okay.
You can do this. They can put their hands under the desk and do this. This works for adults and children. It's just rubbing it on and off for 30 seconds.
I love this.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful tool. It goes with you anywhere you go.
Yeah.
I was actually once in a doctor's office. I was waiting for a biopsy and I started hyperventilating and I did this and it stopped me from hyperventilating. It's really powerful.
It is powerful. Love it. So little, that to me, that's a little manageable trick to keep us centered and sane, which I love.
You can do it anytime.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. And I think it's wonderful. I think everything you guys are offering there is what is needed. We all need this for sure.
Yeah, well, we're here to really support each of us. I mean, we're all on a journey and we just invite people to journey with us and to say, okay, what do you need? And we're here to support it from a really individual basis. I think is the important part of it. It's like we all have different needs and we're all starting in a different place.
Yep.
And we're here to say, okay, where are you starting? What do you need? And how do we journey together?
Yeah, that's
to become
great.
Empowered. I think a lot of this is teaching people how to, through natural approaches, find your way back to a state of health and well-being. Like the fundamental principle of what we're founded on is that we believe, and we've seen this every day, that everyone has the inner power within them to heal.
Yeah.
I worked at the Cleveland Clinic with Scarlett a number of years ago, and most recently at Boston Medical Center. And both of us have worked with clients, patients who doctors have said, you'll never get better. And then we start doing this work and they get better. So it's like, once you understand the language of the body, we have the ability to open up and to really tap into that inner healing power. And that's what we're here to do, is help people find that which is already within each of us.
Yeah. Getting to the root cause, not just treating the symptom.
Absolutely.
So
that is
important.
Absolutely the key. I mean, whenever people come, it's like, they're like, okay, aren't you going to work on my back pain? I'm like, yes, but that's not what I'm working on right this moment.
Because
I'm working on why do you have that?
Yeah.
Why do you have that back pain? What do you need to let go of? Right?
That's it.
Because the mind and the body are totally connected. And we work on just the symptom. A person may feel good for a little while. We get to the root. I've had people, this gentleman I work with at BMC, he had pain for 25 years, chronic pain.
Oh my gosh.
We did the work. He released that pain. He walked into the hospital the next day and people were like, what's your pain level? And it had always been like 8, 9. He's like, oh my God, I don't feel any pain. And what some of the people who work at the hospital said to me in following weeks was, his whole personality's changed. He's just so much more relaxed. He's just so much happier, because when you live with chronic pain every day of your life, you don't feel good.
No.
And so like just allowing that pain to release, it changes, open up his whole world.
Wow.
Not only just the pain, from emotionally as well.
Yes, definitely. Oh man, Jody, this was awesome. Thank you so much. I mean, I just love it. I love what you're doing. I love this focus, this journey, what you're offering.
When are you coming?
This community, let me get the calendar out, girl, because I'm opening up my phone right now and I'm gonna find out. I'm coming ASAP. I'm getting in that car. I don't care. Snow, no so.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm really excited about what you're doing. This is great. This is what I talk about my clients all the time. And I know I've sent a couple your way and I have a couple more coming your way certainly after this. So that's pretty awesome.
Some coming your way as well. I mean, we're both here to bring each of our gifts. Every one of us has a gift. Every one of us. And
for sure.
It's really about tapping into each of our gifts and helping each other. It's just that whole collective, like holding hands and journeying together to a better place.
Yeah.
My teacher once said to me many years ago, we're not meant to do this alone. And I really believe
amen to that.
We need community. We need like-minded people and community to come together and support each other. And that's one of the other things we're going to be doing Friday night at the movies, where we have like thought-provoking movies that we share, and then we spend some time talking just to bring community together. A lot of what I'm finding with people these days is that we're just lacking this feeling of community. And so
Yeah.
we're going to try to do it virtually, I think in February,
Okay.
where we show a movie online and we chat about it afterward.
Yeah.
And then in the summer, we're going to do it outside. People bring their chairs and we'll have a big screen and just have a place for like-minded people to come together and feel a sense of community. So
I'll say, Tim, we got to go up. It's movie night. And
exactly.
Go take a drive. I think it's great. And on the last note, something that you just said, and it's something I've said before, you know, they would say it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise a person. You know, it doesn't just stop, right?
Yes.
It's that support. We all need a little help all the time. And if you've come across this interview, you were meant to. If somebody's mentioned it to you, you were meant to find it. Watch it, follow through. If you know someone who could benefit from Jody's services, please pass it on. It's never going to hurt. It can only help for sure. So thank you again, Jody, for joining us today. This was awesome. And we probably will have Jody back again. My wheels have been spinning as we've been talking about things that we can do moving forward virtually until things kind of smooth out. But everybody, please enjoy this, like this video. Please subscribe if you haven't, shared with your loved ones. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Everybody, peace out. Take care. Be well. Thank you again, Jody.
Thank you, Christine. Blessings to you. Blessings to everyone.
All right, everyone. You guys be well. We'll talk soon.